The Royal Rumble 2024 is in the books, and as always, after these pay-per-views, premium live events, whatever they call them, I like to take a look at your takes, see which ones are hot, cold, room temperature, tepid, lukewarm, etc., etc. Let's dive into them. All right, we'll start off with Chief Thunder says Cody's going to get booed for being Super Cody. I give it 6 months top. I think a lot of people have been waiting for the other shoe to drop on Cody. When is the crowd going to turn on him for sort of being like too, I guess, shoved down our throats, I guess. I'll be honest with you. I know that the reaction, at least over at Going in Raw in the live chat and in the comments seemingly, and I've seen notices on social media too, is that the reaction to Cody winning the Rumble kind of split 50-50. It's what I noticed. Like a lot of people are like, yeah, no, it makes sense. Have him go back-to-back wins, and have him, he's going to finish his story at WrestleMania. I have no idea what kind of synergy there is between like Triple H and his creative staff and the people over at 2K24, because that game is coming out right before WrestleMania, like a month before WrestleMania. And the whole premise of that first trailer was like, Cody's going to win at WrestleMania. Like, I know it's like everybody has their story, but you got I don't think there's any synergy there. I think that it's sort of a natural thing to think that he's going to head back into WrestleMania against Roman Reigns, although a lot of people thought it could be The Rock given what had happened recently. So I personally feel like there was a more creative way to get to Cody and Roman at WrestleMania, but if it's the guy that's going to beat Roman, who's on this epic run, maybe Triple H felt a necessity was Cody winning the Rumble to make him really seem like, okay, this guy is on a mission. This guy's got what it takes to dethrone Roman. So I don't know. Maybe that's the thing. But yeah, I don't know. Will he be booed? Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. So far, that hasn't been the case. So far, he's super still popular with the fans. I'll believe it when I see it. I'm not going to make any predictions on that one. I don't have a hot take on that one, but I rate this one pretty hot, pretty steamy. Anyways, let's move on to the next one here. Liv Morgan's return fell flat, according to Renegade Mikey. She should get a better theme song instead of her generic crap theme. I actually don't think her theme song is the problem. Here, I don't know if this is going to be a hot take or not, but my take on Liv Morgan is that she has not developed, or a character has not been developed for her. Like, I don't know. She has a really cool look. Like, she looks like, she could be a star. But she kind of feels more like Rhea Ripley before Triple H took over. How Rhea Ripley was like, I don't really know who I am at this point. Sometimes I'm nice, sometimes I'm not nice. Now we know firmly who Rhea Ripley is. But I hope that they give something to Liv Morgan to work with. And I kind of agree. I know she was like in the last 3, she was in the final 3, but once again, she came close. This has been her story for so long. She comes close and can't quite get it done. I know they gave her the title towards the tail end of the Vince era, but like even that, Triple H took that off her pretty quickly. And they tried to give her the I'm crazy, I like pain thing. And even that didn't really stick. So I don't know what they're going to do with her. They got to try some more stuff, maybe. People really like Liv Morgan, but I feel like, I don't know, they just sort of like the idea of Liv Morgan. There's my hot take. People like the idea of Liv Morgan more than they actually like Liv Morgan. There you go. Let's see here. Christopher Gonzalez says, and where is Trick Williams at? That made no sense to have Carmelo Hayes in the Rumble, but not Trick. Like, come on. Makes a little bit of sense because Trick has actually been on SmackDown, I'm pretty sure, after... They got to do a thing with him and Trick in NXT, but Carmelo's been a regular featured attraction on SmackDown. So I kind of feel like he's a main roster already, and he's going to do double duty for a couple months while they feud. But yeah, I think the place would have been really excited to see Trick Williams. If you take a look at SmackDown on Friday, the reaction he got from that crowd was befitting of a star. So yeah, where was Trick Williams at? They didn't need JD McDonough in there. Pat McAfee, I thought was a pretty funny bit. I'm cool with Pat McAfee being in there. A bunch of you weren't, though. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, there we go. The Dude 95 says Pat McAfee was a waste of a spot. Happy accidents happen sometimes. Let's see here. Gustavo Clarindo, what a great name, says Nia had one of the best performances of the night. Have you guys noticed that people are coming around to Nia Jax now? Like 19 people upvoted this, one of the most upvoted takes that we've had. Another one, I think, down the line. I forgot to take it out because I felt like this was sufficient, but it's still there. I agree. She did have one of the best. She tossed out the most people. She had the most eliminations in the match. She comes in there. She's like Vader, man. She fucks some people up. Sometimes unintentionally, sometimes, within the storyline and everything. But yeah, no, she had a good performance. I've been appreciating Nia Jax's work, to be honest with you. Like from a character standpoint and from like, a performance standpoint, I think she's been doing some pretty good work lately. I'll be honest. I think they're booking her to her strengths, to be honest with you. Vince would always try to make her do like things that obviously she wasn't really, not in her wheelhouse, so to speak, Anyways, Pyre DDA. Here we go. I'm going to get in trouble here. Once again, the rumors, dirt sheets, leaks, whatever you want to call them, gave people unrealistic expectations for the Rumble, and it somewhat soured the experience. Rumble was a solid premium live event, not the best, but it did the job setting up future storylines and dream matches. So I did my best to avoid spoilers. I sort of half spoiled the Jordynne Grace thing because I happened to scroll on Twitter that there was an interesting interpromotional matchup or interpromotional entrant, and I was like, oh, I wonder if that's Jordynne Grace. Like they had done Mickie James before. Naomi's probably going to be there. So Jordynne Grace. And sure enough, that actually happened. And it was awesome. I thought it was great. But like, that in terms of a surprise, I don't know. I honestly don't know like who spoiled what. But in terms of unrealistic expectations, like the people who are in the know on stuff, the people who can be trusted, Fightful, to a degree, Dave Meltzer, they all called it the way it is. Nobody said that Sasha Banks was going to be at the Royal Rumble. I saw that a lot, like people saying on Twitter, oh, Sasha's going to be there. Sasha's going to be there. And Sean Ross Sapp the whole time was like, no, she's probably going to be in AEW. Seems very likely she's going to be in AEW. Now it seems they're going to be doing, I think, maybe a Dynamite from Boston where Sasha might make her big debut. Maybe they'll sort of try to do a thing like they did with CM Punk's first thing where they don't mention it, but it's kind of obvious that it's going to happen. I mean, that was the only big one there. It's like it was going to be Sasha, but like that was just people running away with it, or Okada. That was just people running away with it. If you pay attention to what the dirt sheets were saying, they were saying, yeah, no. Unless you're paying attention to one of those weird, like, faceless Twitter accounts that, like, gets half the shit they tweet wrong and they steal half the other shit. I don't know. To me, this is not... I did not have my expectations subverted by the dirt sheet, so to speak. I thought the Rumble was an okay premium live event. I'll be honest with you, the Universal title match didn't do a lot for me. The Women's Rumble I loved. Men's Rumble was like okay. And then the US title match I liked. So it was good, but it was only 4 matches also. So it's not like a real meaty premium live event just because the Rumbles are so long. Hey, friendos, do you guys want some new WrestleJuice merchandise? Well, I got you covered. Go to friendoshop.com. You can use discount code FRIENDO2024. Right now, we got some new WrestleJuice stuff there. Got a new WrestleMania 85 looking logo shirt and hoodie. We've got a new, just regular WrestleJuice logo shirt. And, of course, all the other Friendo Club merchandise and Going In Raw merchandise there as well. FriendoShop.com. Go check it out. Here we go. John Bear Gaming says, not sure if you're acknowledging the Triple H press conference on this, but I feel like he handled it very poorly. To say he didn't even read the lawsuit, yet they're taking it very seriously is pretty contradictory. I felt like Triple H didn't handle these tough questions as seriously as he could have. He was very Tony Khan-esque in his answers by trying to pivot from the serious stuff to focusing on the show when the serious stuff is a huge deal. So, let's talk about that. Number one, I agree that he handled it quite poorly. I feel like, I'll put it this way. This is one of those situations, especially where Triple H is involved, where it really is, for me personally, too complex to say, this is what he should have done. These are the words he should have used. That being said, I think the fandom, us fans, would have liked to have heard something more from him, even if that more stayed within the boundaries of I can't say shit legally. Because y'all know he can't say shit legally. Now, Cody had, again, a very diplomatic kind of non-response to it. You know, like I found out when everybody else did. We're a family back there, et cetera, et cetera. He did a very eloquent job because Cody is extremely eloquent with his words. We all know that. Triple H, not so much. The difference is obviously Triple H is much closer to it. Do I believe he read the lawsuit or not? I suspect, having been there as long as he's been there, having understood what Vince McMahon was, he probably didn't need to read the lawsuit. So he's probably telling the truth. He probably, given that the board of directors, I think including him, conducted that investigation back then when Vince left, and then he tried to come back, or Vince came back, and there was that letter from the board saying there's stuff out there that hasn't been made public. This might very well be that stuff. It's entirely possible that, plausible deniability, he didn't read the lawsuit because he knows what's in it already. That being said, it would have been nice if there were more assurances and not trying to just move on from it. It was not his finest moment. But again, in my personal opinion, the complexities of his relationship with everything involved, including WWE, Endeavor, and Vince McMahon, makes that a very complicated thing for him probably to speak on, not to mention the legal issues involved. Would it be nice for him to say, yeah, the dude's a fucking monster? Yeah, I mean, I think that we would all understand that there would be something fulfilling in that. But again, it's a very, very complex thing that, yeah, even he probably wishes that he had handled it better, especially in retrospect. Tony Khan gets a lot of crap for always saying, I legally am not allowed to speak about that. I'm legally not allowed to speak on that. And, the bottom line is I'm also, when it comes to the harsh realities of corporate culture, I'm sort of a defeatist. It's a sad, sad fact that corporate culture is sort of is like that, where, there's a giant lawsuit and a guy can't speak his mind about how he feels about these horrible, horrible things that this other guy did. That's just the way it is. And I hate it and it sucks. And that's just where we are, I guess, as a culture. So yeah, I mean, was it handled poorly? Absolutely. Maybe he felt that in the moment he could have given a more appropriate answer. And who knows what the whole story there is. I have no idea what's going to happen with all that. But, it's awful. And I think we just want to know, hey, you think this is bad, right? Like, this is awful, right? What's going on with that? What was your reaction? Wasn't your reaction that this is fucking terrible? And that's sort of what we want, but it's not realistic, I don't think, to get that. So again, I don't even exactly know where I stand on what he should have said or what he could have said. Some assurances to us. And he did say that he makes it. And the thing also is, he did say that he does everything he can to make sure that the environment is safe. And in terms of the actions behind his words, I have never heard anybody, at least, for the most part, say anything really bad about the experience of working with Triple H. There are people like Boogs, who says, yeah, I wasn't a Triple H guy. He didn't use me, and then I got released, but Vince really liked me. And I get that. But in terms of people seeming to be okay working under Triple H and very much not under Vince McMahon, like Eric Young, probably Sasha Banks, although that seemed to be more of a money thing, but she didn't try to come back until Triple H was in charge. So it seems like under him, people like working for him. People enjoy that environment. People seem to enjoy the environment under Stephanie and HBK and NXT. People seem to enjoy that environment working there. Morale, as you always hear, it's always up, So, I take him at his word that, yeah, with Vince gone, things are going to be very much different, And especially under Endeavor, like if they do get rid of, the people that came along with Vince, you got to remember Triple H almost died from like a cardiac condition, a heart condition. My personal speculation, just due to the stress of working with a piece of shit like Vince McMahon. That's my personal opinion. That's my personal speculation. Being an outsider from all the way out here kind of seems obvious. So I don't know, man. That's all just my opinion on it. Again, I don't even know exactly where I land on this, but people wanted more assurance. They wanted to feel comfortable knowing that these people that we enjoy watching as performers are going to be treated right. And all the people that work in the offices are going to be treated right. And there's not going to be any of this bullshit anymore. And he didn't do a great job really putting that out there and saying, hey, I understand. This is awful. This is awful. And it can't stand. So I think that's what people wanted. And he did not do that. And that's an absolute, that's not good. As a fan of the product, as a fan of the performers, that's not good. And you'd hope that he'd maybe understand that and do better next time. Let's get back to the Royal Rumble now. Nouveau Ninja says Jordynne Grace looked like a star and WWE should try to make a trade for a contract. What a cold take that is, because I completely agree. I don't think anybody would disagree with this, man. It'd be interesting if they could do a trade. I don't think they could do a trade. He mentions Nouveau Ninja here and mentions the UFC was able to do such in 2018. Hey, I think it'd be awesome. If they could pull that off, I think it'd be great. What trade do you guys want to see for Jordynne Grace in the comments below? Let us know. Let me know. This isn't us. Larson's not around. I guess me and Gypsy. Let me and Gypsy know when I say us. Anito Cade says, while the men's Rumble was decent, I really liked the final two, especially with the tease of heel CM Punk. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I'm not going to lose to Dusty's kid. What a dick. There was a weird lack of energy and missed storyline beats throughout the match. One of them being Jimmy just being randomly eliminated instead of getting the next step in the Jimmy versus Jay story. I'm glad so many people thumbs up this, and you mentioned the Jimmy versus Jay stuff. I like that they started him out, but they didn't really go much with it. Like, I figured this would set up a Mania thing, but maybe we'll get that starting on Monday. Jay O'Nay says that United States title match was maybe the only DQ finish I could think of where I was actually satisfied with the result. I agree. I thought that Dusty finish was spectacularly done. It made so much sense with the story they told. It was perfectly executed and timed well. I thought it was really, really good. J&A's here says the whole story was Logan trying to get under his skin, and it worked, although it didn't save Logan from getting his ass kicked afterwards, which was fun to watch. I thought it was really good, and the aftermath was great too. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do at WrestleMania, because they're totally going to do a WrestleMania match. It's probably going to be Sammy versus Gunther and Kevin Owens versus Logan Paul at Mania. That's my guess. Not a tag match, singles matches. Let's see here. Clever username. Speaking of Gunther, I'm okay with Gunther not winning the Rumble this year. It's clear Triple H is very high on him. I think these last 2 years are very, very telling that within a few years, he's most certainly going to be winning a Rumble. He's going to win a Rumble, Money in the Bank, something. Gunther's going places, man. Jaden Sin says men's Rumble was better than a lot of the smarks are giving it credit for. I'm hyped for Mania. Hey, you know what, Jaden? If you liked it, I think that's awesome. I'd never take that away from anybody. Don't call me a smark. Vuk says, the poor crowd impacted the show. Rumble is reliant on a hot crowd. Pretty much any wrestling event is reliant on a hot crowd. And I agree with that. I feel like the crowd there in Tampa, not the best. Not the best in the world. Let's see here. We already talked about that one. Damn it, Ethan says the women's match is probably one of the best Rumbles of all time for me. There were some really good looking spots, and there were a lot of stars who could have believably won. A lot of people thumbs up this. I thought in terms of the women's Rumbles, because they've been doing that since 2018. I agree. This is the best one of them. So this is what, number 6, I guess? This is the best one of them. This was probably, for me personally, maybe a top 5 Rumble. Actually, I have a dog shit memory, so I don't even know. There's lots of Rumbles that I like. There's lots of them that are boring as shit. The 2021 was an all-timer, I think. But yeah, this was a top Rumble for me. I loved this. I thought it was awesome. I thought the women's Rumble was great. Asian Murray says, as much as I love Gunther and Drew, Jimmy and Jay should have been in the final 4. Have Jay and Cody be the final 2. And have both of them stare at Roman would have been way better. Oh, I like that. Jay and Cody be the last two? That's a cool one. I like that. That's a good one. Lord Scruff says the four-way kind of showed how LA Knight isn't quite ready to be world champion in WWE just yet. While I love the guy and think he's great, he just felt slightly out of place on the night with the other three having entrances and general auras that exuded world championship material. Well, LA Knight felt very much like a mid-carder. I agree with this. I really do. And I know a lot of you won't, and I think a lot of people understand that music, his music and his aura and his presence, the people really love LA Knight. He's not there yet. You're in the ring with like the modern day GOAT, Roman Reigns, one of the all-time GOATs, Randy Orton, and a lot of people consider one of the best guys of the last 10 years in AJ Styles, last 20 years. That's going to be hard to keep up with in terms of, hey, here's my resume. I had a breakout year last year at the age of 40. That's not easy to keep pace with those guys. It takes time and reps and wins and belts and championships to feel up to their level. You could put anybody who's relatively new in that slot. Logan Paul. I don't know, Logan Paul wouldn't have felt out of place with those other names in there. Dude just showed up last year in terms of his star-making, year. So you got to give him time. Time's not really on his side, though. So we'll see where he goes. I hope they have good things planned for LA Knight because I like him. Let's see here. Lord Blake Whitehouse says the men's rumble highlighted just how unimportant the men's division is on SmackDown. Lashley this time last year was a star. Now he's just another guy. I don't think he's just another guy. Austin Theory is. He says Austin Theory was essentially a top SmackDown star in the men's rumble. No, it was Lashley. He didn't last very long, though. It was only a couple minutes. Having the world mid-card and tag champs never be there really harmed the product. Yeah, SmackDown didn't have a good showing in the Rumble, but then three of the dudes who could have been in the Rumble were in the title match last night, and the world title didn't have a match last night. So Chase Crown says, I feel like there should have been at least one TNA male entrant, maybe Moose or Josh Alexander. I agree with that. And then Jay Redlet says, you can really tell we're in the post-Vince era. Several mentions of TNA and a strong showing from their champion. Love Triple H jabbed at Khan at the Forbidden Door. I don't need that stuff. I don't need him saying that the Forbidden Door is a cheesy term. I kind of like the term Forbidden Door. I think it's kind of cool. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate it. She's sleeping over there. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. See you around.